For today's math lesson today, we are going to continue our review for topic 10. We are going to be completing the reteaching activity beginning on page 439. Each section is broke into different sets. We have set A and set E on the first page. The side on the left is an example of how we will solve, and then you will complete the side on the right. Let's go ahead and get started with set A. For set A, our example first says you can add groups of 10. Here in our model, we have 1, 2, 2 10s, and in our next model, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 4 10s. 2 10s plus 4 10s is equal to 6 10s. 2 10s is the same as 20. 4 10s is the same as 40. And when you add the two together, 20 plus 40 is equal to 60. What I want you to do for number 1 and number 2 is to write the numbers to complete each equation. Write the total number for how much this model represents and the total number for how much this model represents. Then you will add the two together and write your sum in the blank. You will do the same for number 2. Write the total number that this model represents, the total number that this model represents, then add the two together. For set B, our example says you can use mental math to add 10. When you add 10, the tens digit goes up by 1. The ones digit stays the same. In our example, it says 2 10s plus 1 10 is equal to 3 10s. When we add the 10s, our tens digit goes up by 1, so 2 plus 1 is equal to 3. And our ones digit remains the same. 4 plus 0 is still 4. So 24 plus 10 is 34. For numbers 3, 4, and 5, use mental math to solve the problems below. You can do this by adding together the tens and the ones place remaining the same. If you need to pause the video at any time when we are solving, you can do so now. We are now going to begin the second page of our reteaching activity. If you are still working on the first page, now is a good time to pause the video. If you are ready to begin working on the second page, then let's get started. We are going to be working with set C and set D. Set C says you can use part of a 100 chart to add tens and ones. Here we have the equation 3 plus 40 equals question mark. Here we have part of a 100s chart. They began with the number 3 and then counted by tens to add 40. It went from 13 to 23 to 33 to 43. Remember, when working with a 100s chart or even part of a 100s chart, Each time you move down the column, you are increasing by 10. 3 plus 10, 20, 30, 40 is 43. For number 6 and 7, you are going to use the part of the hundred chart to add the tens and ones. For number 6 and 7, I would begin with the smaller number on the hundreds chart, then count by tens until you reach where you are supposed to be. Here you are adding by 50, which is 5 tens, and on number 7 you are adding by 30, which is 3 tens. Use the hundred chart to help you solve above. For set D, it says you can use an open number line to add. In here, open number line, we were adding together 34 plus 20. They began on the open number line with 34, jump counted by 10, 10, 20, and got the answer of 54. 34 plus 20 is equal to 54. Remember that when solving with an open number line, we want to be able to jump across numbers. We don't want to count by ones when we are using the open number line. You can jump by tens, you can jump by twos, or even fives. For number 8, it wants you to add the two numbers 11 plus 6. On your open number line, you can begin with either of these numbers. You can begin with 11 and break 6 into two different numbers to add, or you can begin with 6 and break 11 into two numbers to add. Show your work on the open number line and write your answer in the blank for number 8. We are now going to begin working on page 3 of our reteaching activity. If you need to pause the video to continue working on page 2, please pause the video now. If you are ready to begin working on set E and F, then let's get started. For set E, it says you can use blocks to add tens to a number. Here in our model on set E, they first added together all of the tens and then counted the ones after. Our first model shows 22 and the second model shows 30. They circled all of the tens, which would be 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, and then added the ones, 1, 2. 22 plus 30 is equal to 52. For numbers 9 through 12, it wants you to add the tens and ones. You can use blocks to help you, or remember, you can draw your blocks on your paper or a separate sheet of paper. Begin with adding together the tens and then the ones in your problem. You can draw your blocks on your paper For set F, it says sometimes you can make 10 when you add. In our example, they were adding together 27 plus 6. When you draw the model for 27 and draw the model for 6, you are able to make 10 out of the ones. You can take the 7 from 27 and borrow 3 from 6 to make 30. Then you have to add the remaining 3. 30 plus 3 is equal to 33. It will be the same answer for 27 plus 6. We are still adding the same amount, we just broke the problem into different numbers. For number 13, it wants you to draw blocks and make a 10 to add. For number 13, we are adding 33 plus 9. First, we'll draw our model for 33, which is 3 10s and 3 1s. Then draw 9 1s. Then it wants you to think. 33 plus what number would equal 40? If I have 33, if I count on to make 40, that would be adding these 3 plus 7. 33 plus 7 more would give us 40. If 33 plus 7 is equal to 40, that means we would break apart the number 9 into 7 and what number? 7 plus what number is equal to 9? Then you will use the number you wrote in the blank here to add to 40. You can also look at our model and see how many 1s were left. Then write the total sum in both blanks. This will be the same answer. We are now going to complete the last page of our reteaching activity. Again, if you need more time to work, you will just pause the video now. We are going to be completing set G and set H. Set G, we are adding 24 plus 19. It says that you can draw blocks to help you add. First, add the 1s. Then add the 10s. Here in our model, there are 4 10s and 3 1s. The dotted line where the 1s are circled is where they were able to make 10. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4 10s and 3 1s. 4 10s and 3 1s is the same as saying 43. 24 plus 19 is equal to 43. For number 14, it wants you to add 67 plus 16. You can draw blocks on your paper to help. First, it has broken apart both numbers. Add together the ones, the tens, then you can add both of these sums to find your final answer. Add together your ones, your tens, to find your total sum for 67 plus 16. For set H, it says thinking happens. Model with math. Can I use a drawing, diagram, table, or graph to model the problem? Can I write an equation to show the problem? For our last problem, problem 15, it says use drawings to show and solve the problem. Then write the equation. Number 15 says, Sally sees 15 birds. Then she sees 17 more. How many birds did Sally see in all? Use both numbers from our story problem to make an equation and solve for the total sum. Use drawings to show your work for how you would find how many birds Sally saw in all. Once you have completed answering all of the questions, you will be all done with your math lesson for today. We will be checking your answers during your math intervention time. If you have any questions before then, please let me know, and I will see you later.